And we are back. Oh, do you remember what happened last time since recording sessions?
So, good one got killed by the evil one. Apparently, they split in half.
I don't know if she's dead, but yeah, her ass got floored.
I have no idea.
And then Cell is knocked out too. Yeah, see, she's still alive and pretty hot.
Look at that booby shot. Just
They should
right in the right
side
camera.
boob.
Just side boob camera.
They should get back together. You know, inside each other.
Oh yeah. It's a little dirty for me, but sure, I did just make the side boob joke. So
Yeah. I mean, you were going there, so I was like,
I think
hey,
I like
fuck
the
it,
one
sure.
with the blue eyes better. I think it looks a little bit. I like the design a lot more.
I think it is too. Like the baby blue and pink
Yeah.
versus the red, black, and pink.
Yeah.
I like it too. Hopefully it sounds a little better than last time, guys. I know we only got a couple episodes in with the new recording room. I changed up the audio absorption panel foam thingies, so hopefully it doesn't sound too echoey. Hopefully or too dead. I think it sounded a little bit too dead last time. This should have a little bit better natural reverb. It almost oh, you're so bad.
The worst.
It kind of felt like we were on like NPR, where it was like just that dead radio silence instead of like a actual like recording room, because it was just so much.
Yeah, it's a little too much soundproofing.
Sam came in the other day when I had set it all up, and he walked in and he was like, whoa, my ears. As soon as he walked in, he's like, what the fuck is going on in here? I'm like,
Yeah, it was a little like, oh man, I haven't been in a recording area in a long time. I forgot what it does when you go into a soundproof room.
yeah, it almost makes you feel like you have to pop your ears even though you
Yes.
don't. It's just because you don't hear that background noise as much.
Yeah.
But
Still doesn't keep the booming from the walls though. Like I'm in my room with like boom, 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 boom.
well, it's only sound absorption for the high stuff. We don't have
Yeah.
we don't have bass traps or anything.
No, there is no bass traps.
Nope.
None at all.
She just ate Cell.
As a donut.
That serves him right for fucking absorbing everyone, and then coming back to life.
If that wasn't an O face for her, I don't know what is. Oh, now she's got spots.
Now she's got the fucking cell dots or the toad dots or whatever the hell he is. I used to thought he was like a beetle or a bug, but then what is it? Captain Ginyu was like, oh, he looks too much like a frog to me. I was like, yeah, I guess I see the spots. Remember when he was like, I'm not gonna change bodies with him.
He's very much insect-based, so his design is actually very similar to something Akira designed. I'm not sure if Chrono Trigger was before or after this game. This
I would think it's after.
I would think.
I'm not entirely sure. I think it's after.
Chrono Trigger was like 1993, 94.
Yeah, but isn't DBZ late 80s?
DBZ like
Or not DBZ, but Dragon Ball late
DBZ
80s?
ended like in like 94 or 93, so it was like close to around the same time. But Cell and Lavos share very similar designs.
Lavos is a character in...
Lavos is like the final boss in Chrono Trigger. Yeah, and they have.
I might be thinking of Chrono Cross. It's definitely before Chrono Cross. I don't know about Chrono
it's
Trigger.
before Chrono Cross. Lavos is in Chrono Cross as well, but he shares more of his first form. Like he has multiple forms in Chrono Trigger versus Chrono Cross. He has one.
Okay. So he didn't get full Japanese until later on. He didn't get his final forms.
Well, Chrono Cross is later, so he had it first. He got.
Oh
that.
yeah, you're right. I guess, huh?
Yeah, Chrono Trigger is the first one. Which Akira was the key designer on that as well.
Makes sense since the main character looks like fucking Goku hair. He had one hairstyle and it's that Goku hair.
Chrono's hair doesn't really look like Goku's hair at all. When you look at it, like
is that the guy with the sword and the red hair or whatever?
Yeah, but that doesn't really look like Goku's hair at all.
Really?
No.
I'm gonna look up a picture, man.
You can look at it again. He doesn't.
I'm gonna
really
look
have
at it
Goku
again.
hair.
From a casual looking at it. What is it? Chrono.
Goku's got like Mickey Mouse
Trigger?
hair. Where like his hairstyle never really changes, even when it's like flipped to the side, it's basically the same. It's just like Mickey Mouse's head. It just rotates and the ears stay exactly where they are. Goku just rotates around and it's just the same thing.
I don't know, man. That design, you're gonna tell me, doesn't look very similar to Dragon Ball style?
No, it's Dragon Ball style because it's by the same artist.
I understand that. I'm saying he basically has like Goku hair.
No, I don't see Goku hair at all.
Really?
No, it's just spiky. Like if that's...
It's just Goku hair, but in a different pattern.
It's spiky hair. I mean...
It's in a different
To
pattern.
say it's in a different pattern, you could say like every artist that draws something, it's like, oh, it looks the same like this other character they drew. It's like, well, yeah, because they drew that other character.
I'm not saying it as an attack. I'm saying it's hard to tell which one came out first because they had very similar hairstyles, and they must have been at the same time because he looked like he had that style intended for the main character of
You put
his
it next
stories.
to a Goku drawing, you'd be like, oh, that's the same artist. But there's some characters in like Dragon Quest, and that Akira Toriyama was the key designer on as well.
And they're very different.
Those look exactly like Dragon Ball Z characters.
What's it called?
It's
Dragon Quest?
You look at like the main character for Dragon Quest like 2 and 3, they're basically Kid Gohan with adult Gohan hair.
Quest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up because I think that might be maybe what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, those designs are super Dragon Ball.
Yeah, that's fucking Goku or
Yeah.
Gohan.
Yes, those ones are very much. Chrono Trigger felt like he was
Dragon
definitely
Quest
trying to-
3.
Yeah.
Looks like fucking Gohan.
I will not argue on that one. They look exactly.
No, that is Gohan.
That is Gohan. Those
Fuck,
ones
that's the guy he fought in the martial arts tournament right there
Yeah.
on the side.
He designed so much for Dragon Quest. Like the monsters are unique, but yes, the main characters, the protagonist he drew is like, hey, that's Goku.
Well,
Oh,
he's
hey,
got the
that's Gohan.
same hair floppy.
Yeah,
You
that
know?
was actually. I don't think that's Akira. That was done by like someone that is riffing off Akira.
Oh, okay.
Usually like if you follow enough of his work, you're like, oh, that's not him. That's someone imitating him. Kind of like
Okay.
Dragon Ball Super, where if you actually pay attention to the Dragon Ball manga and then read Dragon Ball Super, you're like, oh, Akira's way better. His page layout is just superior, and his like action lines and everything, his inking, everything from bottom to top. It's like, oh wow, it's just. One's like a fan comic, and the other's like, oh, that's the original. That's the professional.
So-
Not to knock the guy that draws Super. He's a good artist, but he's just not on the same level. But most people aren't. I'm not on the same level as Toriyama. Toriyama's a god.
Well, I mean,
and
how
most
many years
artists.
does he have on you and other people?
Well, he started writing Dragon Ball, like, drawing, like, back in his, like, late 20s or whatever. So you have to compare to that. And, like, he's just, phenomenal as an artist.
Yeah. You mentioned Super.
Yeah.
Last time we mentioned Super on here, if I remember correctly, is
we get
I
a
was
fight again?
hearing
Oh my
about
God.
I was hearing about spoilers.
Yes. Tsunami
for-
tried to show me the final form today. I was like, no! Get out of here!
The final form of like Goku.
Yeah, and like from the last episode, I was like, no, I don't want to see that.
Oh
Get
yeah,
outta here.
his UI form, which is I'm acronyming it, so I mean, not that I think anyone finds it a spoiler, but at the same time, hey, I'll be kind. It is his final form or his most recent final form. It shows up in the most recent episode. Well, I mean, I fucking hope so because I think there's only 2 more episodes. It might have shown up earlier too, from what I've heard, in a different version of it. But yeah, the spoiler that I was thinking of did not happen.
Oh, really?
People saw stills and they were like, "Oh my God, this happens!" and blah blah blah. Absolutely did not. Something similar to it happens,
but not exactly.
but not exactly. So we obviously found out that the leaker leaked the images, but made up what they thought the images were as reality, and it wasn't it. So now the person obviously is like, well, he's a real leaker of the images, but he doesn't know what happens. He only gets to see the images, and then he designs, without telling anyone, what he thinks it means, and then leaks that out as reality. And it's like, oh, this person did this, and people were like, oh my God, that can't be the case. If that's the case, that's fucking stupid. And then the episode came out, and they were like, oh, well, that's not the case. I mean, you could easily understand that. And I'm being vague as fuck, because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. But those of you who are all caught up with Super, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, not me. Not me at all.
That's why I'm not spoiling it.
I'm like episode 40 out of like 132. I'll get to it.
I think it's 132, 133, and they're on 130 right now.
Yeah.
Is the most recent one that came out, like, or leaked, or I guess it came out. I watched it on YouTube because it had leaked onto YouTube, and I didn't have the login for our Funimation. Jen had it, and I wasn't about to text her during a workday and be like, hey, what's the login for our Funimation so I can watch
She's
the...
not busy. She's just,
Yeah, she's just taking care of like 12 or
kids.
11 or 13 fucking 2 or 3-year-olds
Yeah, they're
at
not-
once.
They're not hyper. Not
Yeah,
hyper.
no, it's not like that's not a difficult job. I should just text her while I sit at home so I can try and watch Dragon Ball.
Honey, I know you're really busy, but I gotta get my Dragon
What's the
Ball fix.
login to Funimation? Yeah, that won't piss her off.
No, not at all. You won't hear the end of that conversation.
But it's good though that it wasn't true because a lot of people were like, "Fuck this series if that's the ending." Like, what a cop out. What a people. Like I said, people were freaking out. It doesn't happen that way, or at least it's not looking like it's happening that way. So a lot of people are relieved. They're like, oh, yes, cool. The last 2 episodes are going to be tight.
Yeah, it was funny. I was playing with my friends on 14 the other day, and they're like, oh, new Super came out.
Final Fantasy 14?
Final Fantasy 14. They're like, oh, new Super came out. Bye, guys. I was like, what? I'm like, yeah, we got to go watch. He's like, okay, see you guys later.
Be happy that they'll only be gone for 25 minutes, 20 minutes.
I was watching Yu Yu Hakusho again, and it's always funny that everyone's like, oh yeah, anime episodes, they're 22 minutes long. It's like, well, not really. There's the little intro and outro between credits.
Yeah,
and
for
then there's
10, 15 seconds.
There's the actually outro music, like the ending credits, which is like about a minute. And
then you got the next
intro,
scene,
which is like 2 minutes, plus the ending scene. It's like,
next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Really like
and then they give you the hints.
15-minute long episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Animation's hard, so don't get me wrong, but I always found it funny that those were so prevalent, at least back in the day. They're a little less prevalent now.
What example did I give you before about an anime where it's basically...
Shit.
What anime was I talking to you about? I was like, dude... Oh, it was My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
Or Boku no Academia, whatever.
Fuck.
It's basically... The first part of the episode, for the first 5 minutes, is a recap of the last episode, using some of the animation from the last episode. And then it's about 10 minutes of actual episode, and then the last 15 minutes is credit music and then the hint at the next episode. I mean, some of those times are off, obviously, but like, they give a recap of what happened in the last episode, and then a recap or a pre-cap of what's going to happen in the next episode at the beginning and end of every scene or every episode. And it takes up almost all of the fucking episode time. And I'm exaggerating, it doesn't. But at the same time, it's like, fuck guys, that's like 4 minutes of your 22-minute time slot. Like, maybe... That's like, what is that, 20%-ish?
Something like that.
Like, come on, guys. Like, I know what happened last episode. Preferably, I wouldn't be showing up to episode fucking 12 of My Hero Academia without seeing the previous 11. Like, I don't need a reminder. They come out every week. Or in some people's cases, they just binge watch it if it's already been released. Like, I don't need a reminder.
Yeah, it's funny, on a kind of side note, but also still relevant to anime, I told a student the other day, it's like, hey man, like, what was it? He was making fun of me because I watched Dragon Ball Z dubbed. I was like, dude, I like Goku to sound like a man.
I like dubbed too. Goku's like, but that's almost exactly what he sounds like.
He's grown up in this age where Crunchyroll and, sub,
where you have access to subs?
Where you have access to subs. So, of course, you're going to watch the most concurrent. But I found it super funny because I never would imagine this kid to be into anime. Because back in the day, that kid never would have been into anime.
It's very acceptable nowadays, especially when you have access to all the stuff. When you have like internet streaming and things like that. I heard today that there are more Americans that stream music, that have music subscriptions, than there are Canadians.
I believe it. I mean, Spotify's like $1 billion industry, which is a lot wider.
Billions. Yeah. That's where the music is going nowadays. It's less buying music and more streaming music.
Well, because no one wants to buy in. The problem was back when iTunes like, hey, buy the whole album, and then they finally got on the bandwagon. I was like, oh, you can buy single songs.
Yeah, and then they raised up the fucking prices.
Yeah, to like $1.99. You're like, yeah, there's so much good music out there.
It's like $1.29 for anything that is anything.
Yeah, well, maybe some of like the pricing needs to be better for the artists themselves. I feel like streaming is the best of both worlds, especially for the consumer.
I don't know entirely. I heard you get fucking like not even pennies for like 1,000 plays or something.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like they should be probably get paid more.
Well, they probably should, but that's not gonna happen.
No, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Not until they write better contracts.
They get dicked around. Well, it's like the contracts currently are, well, we have all the money and we have all the access to distribute you, so we're just going to fuck you over since you as a single band or entity doesn't have a whole lot of,
leeway or power.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes down to the big artists. Like, I know Taylor Swift pulled all of her music from Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
She was getting...
A lot of people like that can have a big say on what happens to the small people.
Yeah.
And that's what needs to happen. Like, a lot of the people who made it need to understand that, like, hey, you weren't always like this, and people are still trying, and now it's even tougher. It gets a lot harder for a lot of people to try and break through and make it nowadays. I mean, whether it's music or YouTube, it helps to have somebody who has succeeded kind of be like, hey, this isn't right. We shouldn't treat these people like this, or they should have an equal say, or they should get treated, with respect, even monetarily in contracts. They shouldn't be taken advantage of. Also, this is the wave machine, evidently.
Apparently, this is the thing that's been suppressing all the waves. It kind of harks back once again, not to kind of just keep griping on the game, but man, they really should have put this at the forefront.
Yeah,
it feels like
it shouldn't have taken 12 hours, 15 hours to fucking figure out. Oh, hey, this is how the character's powers are being suppressed.
Yeah, probably important.
This has more padding than fucking Dragon Ball the anime.
Yeah, and the padding in that anime usually doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah, bitch, don't eat that. That's not candy. You can turn anything into candy. You eat a fucking controller? Are you kidding me?
I wonder why it didn't taste great.
She can turn anything into candy. Well, I say candy, and all she ever turns it into is the pastries. But I don't know. I mean, maybe Tarkum corrected me. I think Tarkum said we call everything candy, or they French call everything candy. I might be mistaken. Sorry, Tarkum. Again, hi Tarkum.
Hey Tarkum. We appreciate you watching. I think a couple other people have picked up on this that are our viewers, but I'm not sure. I think I saw a comment or two from.
There might be a couple.
One or two other people. Which, for those of you that are watching, hey
guys, all
welcome
three of you. Also, how fucking stupid is it? She didn't turn the controller into candy. I mean, I know why she didn't. It's for plot reasons. So
yes.
If you can get it out of her, I still got the controller. It's not candy, Or
ooh, it's Krillin.
A fucking donut or something.
See, this is like the plot where an actual plot would make a plot's worth of sense.
Not really.
Not just like the plot of like,
Think about
she got boobs.
I mean, I haven't been paying attention this episode. They happen to find her in the area.
I'm just saying.
And then they surprise her, and then who shows up to surprise them? It's like a box and a box. It's like a bushbaga girl, or the little dolls that sit inside of the Russian nesting dolls. It's like that, where it's like, oh, I'm surprised this place showed up. Now I'm surprised that these people showed up. Oh, now surprised these other people showed up. It's like, what is? I've had less people show up to something that they knew they were going to be showing up to. Why does everybody suddenly know that this fucking lab is here?
I mean, it's Dr. Zero's old lab, probably. So that's, I imagine. I don't know.
Maybe I'm missing something because I haven't been paying attention.
Maybe 18 clued in Krillin since it's her husband and told him where they were going to be.
I think it'd be cooler if she turned the... I mean, it's a minor point. I think it'd be cooler if she turned it into a donut and then ate it. And then if good 21 was around, they'd be like, oh no, boot, and then can turn it into, back into the remote so they can turn off the waves or whatever.
Apparently Goku figured out somehow, but who knows?
You've been paying attention and I haven't.
Yeah, I was paying attention. You were going on a...
when you stopped talking and started reading, I was like, Sam's reading. I can hear the hamster wheel turning. I'm just going to keep rambling on.
Well, I was letting you finish your thought about the music industry, so I was just going to let you go with that while I try to make sense of what the plot was.
I'm down with that. I mean, I know a little bit, like the most minor amount about streaming and how people are fucked over on contracts and stuff. We looked a little into it on like what it takes to get onto iTunes and stuff from my last band. But I mean, obviously it was a lofty goal, but at the same time, from what I heard and read, I was like, man, people really get fucked over on this. Like, especially the small people. They provide a lot of the content, and just because they aren't very big, they kind of get fucked over.
Yeah. I mean, in some ways, it's a great platform for broadening people seeing your music, but at the same time, you should be getting paid. Most people should be being paid more adequately.
Well, that goes back.
Better.
That goes to like the art thing. Oh, I can give you exposure.
Yeah.
Fuck paying you for your skill and your time and your hard work, but I'll give you exposure. It's like, fuck you.
The only argument to that is they actually are paying, though.
Like a $6 fucking iTunes check in a year?
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a lot of pay, but
like a Pandora.
A lot of what happens with artists, like even more so, is like, hey, exposure, but there's no actual pay for it. It's like, yeah, no.
Yeah. I get you.
I mean, but that's also up to the band, and that's also up to the artist to determine, is this worth my time?
Yeah, there's a lot of different impacts and different ways of going about it, if it's worth it to someone or if it's not.
If it's not worth it to you as a band, then yeah, you should not use Spotify. You should not use these services.
Yeah, but then they buy everyone else out for the most part, and then makes it impossible. They make it a monopoly, and if you don't go with them, well, it's basically you signing your own death warrant.
I mean, there is that, but I mean, it depends on how old the band is, too. I feel like certain bands, like that have been well established, they obviously don't have to. For newer bands, maybe, but then if you're a newer band, you're probably not getting discovered on there anyways.
No, you're not.
So
Anyway,
it kind of comes to the age-old tradition of like bands getting discovered.
Yeah, we'll get back to band talk and stuff like that.
Something about plugs.
Jesus, we'll get back to it at the end of the beginning of next episode.
This just keeps on going.
Beep, bop, boop. God damn, dude. You get multiple allies. Select. You get your allies. And map 13 out of 15.
God.
No, because there's 8 chapters and 15 maps, right?
Well, I kept my levels from my last guys.
Yeah.
That's something, I guess.